Is there a better sound than that in the morning? Birds tweeting. Not a car in sight. Except mine, of course. Good morning, YouTube and TikTok fam. We have just drove here at the Sparrow's Fart of Dawn to beautiful historic Hill End. We're going to be doing a bit of detecting today, but not in the usual way. I'm going to be finding signals, I'm going to dig them out, I'm going to put the signals in a bucket and then go down to the creek and pan them off. So let's talk equipment. Today we're going to be using the Gold Monster 1000. This is an entry-level detector available from most retailers for about $1,200 to $1,500, depending if you can get a special or not. And the reason we've chosen this location is because A, I found gold here before. B, this is Hill End, and I mean, literally, they buy things in gold here. Back in the day, the miners used to just straight trade gold. We're going to be going alongside the road, and I'll get to that in a minute. See, this road is part of the access road for the Crown lands. And every now and then, they go along with the grader. Every time they grade it, they push up this soil up onto the sides, dig it down just a little bit more, and they expose just a little bit more of the bedrock, scraping off inch by inch by inch every time they do it. Now, Hill End, when it does rain, it downpours. I mean, we get erosion all the time. So I'm going to try to avoid digging on the road, but more so on the sides where the contour banks of the grader have gone through. So let me grab a bucket and a pick and we'll fire up the detector and yeah, we'll get to it. Got to get that glitter. That's it, guys. That's all I'm going to be using, plus the detector, and then I'm going to come back for a pan when we get a full bucket. Now these detectors are so simple. You just flick the on button, wait for it to fire up, ground balance it, and then you go ahead and you just swing. Now all we're after is the signal. Things like that. Even though it says iron, it could be anything, especially out in highly mineralized ground. See, that's a proper signal right there. That's probably a piece of metal. But as you can see, we're just on the contour bank of the road. See, there's another one. Now, the secret to detecting is not just hard work, but it's patience, persistence. You've got to reach your targets. Like, set a limit for yourself. Set, say, 25, 50 targets. Don't get discouraged if you don't get anything the first few times. Sometimes it's just bad luck. Anyway, I'm going to set a target of about 25 targets today before I decide to have a break, and then, yeah. So I'm already up to 1, 24 more to go. The theory behind my madness is every time they grate this road, they push up all this, and every time it rains, it causes erosion, And there are little gullies and divots and just basically concentration points where the gold might collect, kind of like a sluice box. My theory is, even though that might be rubbish, there might be some gold sitting with it. Just got to be careful of these locals here. They seem pretty mean. I am right next to their nest, so I'm not surprised. Now that we've got a full bucket, let's go get ourselves a pan and make our way down to the creek. So we're pretty hard pressed to find a place to pan where we're not going to get eaten by leeches. But hey, this will work. So what we're going to do is we're going to dump this bucket into this bucket, classify him out, and then stick him through the pan and see what we get. About right there at the top. So we just finished panning off that bucket, and right there at the top there is probably about 6 or so specks. Now that was only one bucket and we weren't even trying. That was just trying to isolate the low spots with the metal detector. Plus we also got, I think that's a loop or a washer or something. That's a nail. Couple more bits of wire in here. Sorry to disappoint, but look, that's what prospecting is. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. I'm going to stick around here for a little bit. I got Job turning up in the next half hour or hour or so. So, got to get that glitter. Thanks for tuning in.
Like and subscribe. Hash gotta get that glitter.
back in the creek, mate.
Okay, so we're joined down on the Tambarua Creek with Job and one of his panning tours.
Yes, this is where I do one of my panning tours. Obviously not with my horse Girly all the time. I just brought Girly out for a bit of a special trip for Sam on our YouTube video today. But he wanted to talk about my gold panning tours, where I do them, how I do them, what's included. And this is pretty much the area where I bring people. I get them to meet me not far up the road, so there's no four-wheel drive required. Tours go for about an hour. I bring all the equipment required, teaching not just pros like Sam, but mainly a lot of families and groups of people, teaching people how to pan and identify gold. And this is actually some of my dig spots down here. So all the equipment to do all the digging required to find the gold. And it is just a how-to lesson, again, a how-to lesson, just highlight that. But you get to learn all the basics with me doing a live demonstration. I stick with you for an hour, try to really help you find some color, and 9 times out of 10 we always get a little bit of color, and you will pick up the skills of how to pan, and not just that, all the other hidden tips and tricks as well, like where to dig and things like that. So if you're interested in that type of a thing, families and groups always welcome, and I'm down here most weekends and every day in the school holidays.
So just to prove that Job knows what he's talking about, Job and I are going to have a quick scratch around here, show you what sort of color you should expect from one of his tours, and yeah, got to get that glitter.
Getting down to it now.
Moment of truth.
Okay, I guarantee, well, I never guarantee, but I'd like to think there'd be one speck in here. It'd be 6.
Well, let's see if he's on the money.
Let's see if I'm on the money at all. That's the question, that's right.
See, everyone has a different panning style.
Yep.
Mine is way different, but I tend to speed run my pans a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't take my
Very,
time.
very fine gold we find here in Tambarua most of the time. And to prove my point, there's just that little bit of fine gold right there. Heap of just flower gold stuff, eh?
Tiny stuff. Very tiny stuff.
Very, very. See if I can put it all together a little bit better. Just a little bit. Now that's flower gold for you.
That is flower gold. Not the stuff we normally chase, but gold is gold. So now it's time for my pan. Where should we go? Now, if Job's true to his word, I should just be able to throw a pick and choose a spot. So let's do that. There she is. Truth be told, that looks actually really quite decent. There's a nice piece of bedrock shelf in between another piece of bedrock shelf. So, you know, she might even pay out. Okay, so we got our pan of questionable dirt. Let's get it to our questionable water source. Questionable water source, where I'm determined to get myself eaten by leeches. thanks for having me out here today, Jobs.
No worries at all, Sam.
Show us what we got here.
We've got like 12 specs. I did 2 pans, he did 1. We got a dozen specs. So if you're here with a family for an hour, you guys are going to walk away with at least that, or who knows how much more.
So Jobs, you're going to post some pictures on of the gold
I'll definitely
on your page later on today.
Chuck up these dozen awesome specs that we found in the 3 pans that we did. You know, just yarning and broing out. So what can you say? We were here for like 20 minutes. So you can only imagine what a good hour with me can happen. Anything can happen down here. Take it easy, Sam. Until next time, mate.
Gotta get that glitter.
Okay, so full disclaimer, I'm not sharing the exact location where we're going, but it's somewhere in Hilland. It's one of Jobs's secret locations where he finds his nuggety gold. Yeah, so I'm not going to show you the journey on the way down there. I'll just show you when we arrive, but I've teed it up with Job to show me one of his beautiful spots. So I'm just driving there now. It's going to take me a little bit of a drive. Lucky she's in full drive. There he is now, blocking the road. Let's go up and say hello. He's on the run. He's trying to lose us. Let's see what his 1 horsepower can do compared to our Triton. I think his forward drive is a bit better than mine. Hey Job, what's wrong with your forward drive?
Got an all-wheel drive.
So we're down at one of Jobs's secret spots. What do you spied here, Job?
One large rock bar. Obviously, you know, it depends on how much you want to work today. If you want to move lots of big rocks and get some gold underneath that, or find a crevice. And
that crevice looks juicy.
it's just one long crevice. So this is going to be my target for the next probably half an hour with my awesome crevicing tools.
And we don't have long, do we?
No.
Those rain clouds are moving in nice and thick. What was the forecast today? 3 p.m. or 4 p.m?
Yeah, for like 90% chance. So they don't normally mess around with 90% chance.
Well, we better get to work then. Start digging, get some gold. Got to get that glitter. So I'm walking the creek and I'm looking, seeing where I'm gonna do a dig. And I come across this. Now, yeah, I might have to throw a few rocks, but if you take a look at the riverbed, it's all bedrock. It's all bedrock until it gets to about here. And she's all hard packed in under here. So I'm going to do a couple of pans and just see what I get out of it. Okay, so we've got one overly overfull pan. Let's go find a questionable water source and see what we're going to get. Okay. Hope nothing's living in this questionable water source. Got a few small pieces of gold. Don't know how well the camera's going to focus on them. Bit of glare going on. I guess you'll have to tune into my live stream and watch me clean it. So looking at the terrain here, this is super old, ancient bedrock with just like layers of silt and sediment on top, and the creek has just pushed its way through over the years, but it's left things like this, a nice big crack, and this is fractured bedrock. Job's over there working on a fresh crack, and he's pulling out some all right color from that one crack from just a tiny bit of material. So I'm going to break off this shelf and pan out what's underneath. Because even though there's a small crack there, there might be a good chunk of gold there. We've got all this material. Let's hope there's a bit of gold in there. But there's a piece of gold. We're not going to be able to focus on it, but there is one little speck of gold right here. Elusive little bugger. Oh well. I guess that's what Crevicing's about. Okay guys, I've got to crawl my way out of here before that storm rolls in and I get trapped. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I should have got a shot of the gold that I got today. But anyway, I will catch yous on the next one. Gotta get that glitter.
Like and subscribe. Gotta get that glitter.